Morning. I'm Reverend Catherine MacDonald. I'm the intentional interim minister at Stairs Memorial United Church. And this device that I'm using to record this spiritual reflection is both my greatest asset and my greatest downfall. I love its ability to check something quickly online and to connect with family and friends and colleagues around the world. And yet, when I want to get away from it, its siren call still calls me. And I said to my leadership the other day that, 10 years ago, we wouldn't have been able to handle the pandemic in the way that we have with Zoom and Facebook Live and remain connected as much as we have been able to through this past 20 months. But the other thing that I've noticed is that with the proliferation of Zoom meetings, the time in between meetings has shortened. In days past, if you had a meeting at 1 o'clock and you had to drive there, maybe 20 minutes or half an hour, you had that time kind of to mentally prepare and leave whatever you were dealing with previously behind and get ready for what was ahead. And then when you left that meeting an hour and a half or 2 hours later, you drove back to wherever you came from and you left that meeting behind and prepared for your next thing. And there was that separation in between. And now I'm finding, in the interest of efficiency, and I'm scheduling things too close together. I'm cramming my days full and there's no space in between. And I realize that those spaces in between is when I might have made connections to God and connections to the world and connections with things that were going on. I might have spent some time in prayer, just holding people in the light of God's love. I might have just let my mind wander and not really think of anything at all. Just let everything relax, except of course my eyes and my hands if I was driving. But that time in between. So how do we create that time in between when it's so easy to be caught up in efficiency? How do we create that ongoing space for God? Like, for instance, I'm on study leave this week. I'm registered and enrolled in an online program for interim ministers, and I woke up at 5:30 this morning and I got up around 6 or so and started to do some work on Advent planning, and before I knew it, it was 9:30 and I'd had a couple of cups of coffee, and then my alarm went off and said, spiritual reflection today. And it was like, uh-oh. And there's just so many things you can cram into a day with technology. And so I don't have any really good answers, but I want to find a better way to use the technology instead of be hounded by the technology, and to find a little more space in between the obligations, because that's the space where we find God, and that's the space where we find ourselves. So blessings on your day, my friends, and blessings on your searching for space.